Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Live from the Sword Coast podcast. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly dungeon master this evening. Tonight, we are continuing on with our ongoing Westmarch style campaign playing Champions, the superhero role-playing game published by Hero Games. And with me tonight are the stars of the Wednesday night sessions. First up is Jeffrey.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and I'm playing Duplicator.
And Cork.
Hi, I'm Corey, and I am playing the launch game.
You're playing launch games.
I'm playing launch game. No, his name is, where are you? Special Agent Jack Valiant, and he's a Men in Black style FBI agent.
You know, I forgot to add the what do you call it? The picture from Men in Black for him because
that's fine.
You said he was cast in. So so what we'll do is let's do the camera shuffle here and get into roll 20, and then we'll do a bit of a session summary and we'll see what's going to happen tonight. So while we're doing this here to present everyone, I'll explain what. For those who are unfamiliar with a Westmarch style game, what I don't remember off the top of my head who the name of the guy is, but there is a blogger out there who talked about a style of campaign play where it's sort of a drop-in, drop-out type play where players tell the DM when they're going to play, and then they sort of dictate what they're going to do in a larger sandbox. That's sort of the approach that we're taking on this, where we're going to have different heroes each week because as people's availability are flexible or change throughout the the month. Oh, hold on, I'm gonna refresh this. So that's what the approach that we sort of set up for this is something that could be dropped in and dropped out of easily. Let's see here. That's proven to be in the fiction. It's proven to be a little bit more of a challenge than I had anticipated, but we are making do. We're down a couple players tonight, but where we are picking up is with, let's see here, we've got Dr. Colin Black, also known as Duplicator, who is played by whom, John? Who plays Duplicator?
What? Me.
No, which actor?
Oh, I don't know. Looking right at him. What's his name?
I couldn't remember. I'm drawing a blank. So.
French Stewart.
French Stewart, yes.
That's hilarious.
Who's played by the
James McAvoy is his name.
James McAvoy, the legendary thespian. Well, we're laughing at our own jokes here. Okay, yeah. So James McAvoy plays Dr. Colin Black, also known as Duplicator, and a rugged-looking Josh Brolin plays Jack Valiant in the movie version of our campaign. And where we last left our heroes was with Matt O'Connor, a FBI agent from the distant future, in the year 2018. And what I'll do is I'll just go through the email. Matt's player sent us, or Agent O'Connor's player sent us an email earlier today to give a rundown of what he shares with everyone. What do you guys remember about what happened last session?
I think we had discovered time disturbances at that cabin out in the woods.
Yeah, we found like a partial cabin.
Yeah, partial cabin.
And
yes,
then we
right.
found some newspaper articles that were from the future that looked extremely legitimate.
Yeah, there were some aged, some things I believe from like 1938 or later. Oh, you know what it was? No, it was 1944, I think. It was the thing where Roosevelt died.
Right.
Where FDR died. So I think we ended the last session with me fumbling around on Google image search trying to find that. So what has happened afterwards is that we left last session with all the two heroes from the 1930s turning to Agent O'Connor and kind of saying, what the hell is going on? And what Brent, who plays Agent O'Connor, has written is that Matt looks at the newspaper from, he's got down here 2018, but it's actually 1944. Looks at the newspaper from 1944 and then at his companions and sighs. I have an explanation, but it's not short. Let's get into the car. At least it's warm in there. And the reason he's saying that is because they're in the middle of the woods where no cabin exists in 1937, but was there in the year 2018. Where they arrived in 1937, it was January 21st. So this is now January 22nd, 1937, and it's cold and full of snow in the mountains. I'm getting some feedback from somebody here. I wonder who that is. Are you? Let's see here. You know, I'm just going to double check here and make sure.
I can hear it.
You can hear a bit of a.
No.
Okay. Let's see here. I'll do this here. Okay, and let me just reset the settings here. Okay, I'm still getting feedback from somebody, and it's coming through on, let's see here. Marco. Echo. I don't know what's going on. That's weird. Anyway, so what Agent O'Connor has also said is, you guys made your way back to the to Agent Valiant's car, and then once everyone's seated and the heat is cranked, and you know what? I actually don't think there are heaters in cars in the 1930s. I know
my car would have one because it's decked out with futuristic gadgets.
Oh, that's of course right. Yeah, absolutely. So the heat's cranked up, and Matt says, "My name is Matthew O'Connor. I'm a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the year 2018." And he passes around his driver's license and badge, and they seem to be made of a very, very unusual material. Certainly something that's not natural. That maybe, I think your mind probably goes to like rubber or something like that, because I don't know whether plastic has been invented in 1937, but I'm certain that it wasn't commonplace everywhere. Sylvester, that's Steve's character, Natural Disaster, is an FBI consultant, and the two of us were working together, following a lead, and we were transported to the past by machines built by two fascists. And then he fills you in with the rest of the details. Now, I don't think that either of you guys, either Cork or Jeff, you guys heard what happened before, right?
I haven't really heard this story, no.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so what he tells you about is how he and Sylvester, in the whatever it is, like 80 years in the future, were tracking a smuggled occult artifact to a kind of like a racial, or basically a fascist militia group that was located in the Oregon hills or mountains. And when they reached there, what they found was that there were two aged, basically Nazis. I mean, he's described them as Nazis as sort of an easy sort of byline explanation. And to your ears, remember, Nazis are just, it's a fascist group that runs Germany right now. That's the, so it would be a weird association. It would be like, I don't know. I mean, calling them the labor group, right? Like the Nazis does not have, to your mind, the connotation it does nowadays. They're not world conquering fucking, evil boogeymen. They're just a weird group behind a strange talking man who seems to be threatening Europe. But what he says, to explain it further, he says they're fascists, and two of them will, from your perspective, become threats and will be involved in the Second World War. One of them will fight for Germany, and one of them will fight for Imperial Japan. So I guess you find out that those two, that's going to happen in the future, that Germany and Japan will attack the world at some point. He appeared there, so they appeared at the cabin, they found these guys there, and the Japanese guy, who he recognized, or he's told you as a guy named Iron Father, he was working some kind of occult, steam or some kind of sort of like machinery thing, like steampunk type machinery. And there was an explosion or a flash or something, and he and Sylvester found themselves alone in the middle of the woods. Sylvester used his sorcery to bring them to town, and that sort of led you guys up to meeting up with Dr. Black. He says he asked for Dr. Black and Agent Valiant's help capturing Sturmvogel. That's the Nazi or the German superhuman, and Iron Father, stopping whatever plans they put in motion and returning to 2018. He also stresses it's extremely important to avoid altering the timeline by introducing knowledge of the future. I guess apart from what he's told you guys, that there's going to be a Second World War. Germany will attack the world again. I don't think he has mentioned Pearl Harbor, so you don't necessarily know the particulars of how America gets involved in the war, at least directly involved in the war. So in the course of
my character would be too willing to change the course of history. He would try and protect it.
Yeah.
What about Duplicator?
I don't think that Duplicator would have any interest in modifying history, but he would definitely try to maybe exploit some of the knowledge of technology if he could.
Yeah.
Like, try to probably ask questions that may be leading as far as, what's this like? What are even just being in an automobile, like what are the automobiles like in the future? And questions like that are probably annoying to Matt, because Matt has kind of said he doesn't want to alter the future in any way.
Well, flying cars and shit.
Yeah.
Right. And exactly. And Dr. Black is asking all the typical sci-fi, he's read all the sci-fi novels of the 30s and the 20s. Yeah. So that's sort of his vision of,
living on the moon and stuff like that.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
And questions like, where's your ray gun and your laser pistol and all these things or whatever, You must have some bureau, or what do I call the bureau?
The FBI?
G-Men.
G-Men, yeah.
Right. Where's your G-Man, pistol? It must be shoot beams of energy or mind control or something. And then I'm asking him if his powers are technological or naturally occurring, stuff like that.
He tells you he is reluctant to tell you anything about the particulars of the technology of the future, so he doesn't talk about the ray gun or whatever. He doesn't. He lets you observe his sidearm, but he needs to trade it off for something else. And I think sometime maybe while you guys, whenever you guys make it back to Bend, he's going to purchase a new sidearm, and that'll be the thing that he's purchased. He's actually spent character points to purchase something different. So let him do that. And what? Okay, so with respect to his powers, he tells you that he was born with them. There was no there's no technology. There's no anything. It's something that is natural. And I'm trying to think I think that the idea of atomic mutants and stuff like that probably doesn't come into vogue until the 50s, until after the war. So your understanding this might be that, at best would be pulp stories, like the Shadow, who uses, he has the power to cloud the minds of men or whatever.
Right. And will he answer the question of are supers much more, or whatever we're calling them, much more prevalent in his time?
I think he says that he doesn't think it's wise to have too much knowledge of the future.
Okay.
When he
says that, Dr. Black winks at him.
I love it.
He says, yes, too much knowledge.
That's great. Okay. Agent Valiant, what's your thoughts on this? What's your response to this?
Well, he's probably just gathering intel and taking notes in his little notepad and stuff like that. And,
yep. And I think maybe what will happen is, as you guys are speaking, there's suddenly this sort of like, kind of like popping sound, you know, and you guys see, remember that other strange character you saw walking with the guys? It's this gentleman here.
Yeah.
He suddenly reappears, throws his arms around Matt, and then poof, they both vanish, leaving just the two of you in the middle of the woods. I guess you're back in your car at this point. But they disappeared.
I'm going to start up the car.
Boom, 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 boom. Well, I think it's running. So what? You guys are left alone in the car. What are you guys doing?
I think we should double back and head back to town. Get your.
Yes, and I think we should try and find out something about these two gentlemen that Matt just mentioned to us.
It's probably a time displacement phase wave.
It's old hat for Agent Jack Valiant. One second, I'm just grabbing some stuff here, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, like I think we should head back to town and try and.
Do I know why you're called the Duplicator?
I probably have not called myself the Duplicator to you yet.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I would just be calling myself Dr. Colin Black.
All right.
The Duplicator might be something that you would find out about.
Do you invent the Xerox machine or something?
That's his special power. If you hand me any paper or photo, I will give you an approximate copy of that thing.
I will it's even strong enough to copy your ass.
Yeah. Just do not touch it for the first minute or so. You might ruin the image.
I've never photocopied my ass. Have you guys?
I have not. Nope.
Bucket list.
No.
I've certainly copied my face before.
Yeah, everyone's done that.
Yeah.
I think I've copied my hand by accident.
Yeah, I've done like thumbs when I've been holding a book open or something like that.
Yeah.
Not sure I would really trust, like, of all the places I want to get glass shards, that's probably the last.
Yeah, I'm probably a little too big to sit on a photocopier.
Yeah.
Not a big one.
Not an industrial. You thought this through. There's a strategy at play here. Okay, so you guys drive back to town. It takes you about maybe 45 minutes to head back to town. Do you talk about this weird like disappearance or kidnapping of Agent O'Connor?
I sense that it's just the beginning of more strange events to come.
Okay.
So there's nothing I can do about it. It just happened, so I'm not really shocked or awed by it. I just
I think that natural disaster is just probably freaked out by the time travel is what I'm telling the agent here, and that I think that once Matt has a chance to talk to him and calm him down, they'll be back.
Okay.
We're the only people that they know in the 30s, and we definitely have the means to help them, and I think they'll be back.
Okay. Okay. So you guys get back to town without any other incident. It's probably about it's actually probably fairly late in the day at this point, and the days are shorter because it's winter time. So it's probably getting, if not sunset, it's getting very close to that. What are you guys planning on doing in town?
Is there any technology that I would have access to if I was back at home base that would help track down these Nazis? That we can go on that angle.
Well, how would you go about tracking down the Nazis?
Well, I'm wondering if there's like a quantum flux field sensor, you know?
Okay. Well, let's take a look at your character sheet here. You do have a contact with the FBI. And what that allows you to do is, I think we said that there were sensitives with the FBI who you had, like what was the reason that you went out here? Because there were some of the sensitives at the FBI went kind of loopy, you know, a day or so ago, and then one of the people you regularly track, you know, Dr. Black here, he suddenly, you know, lit out for the West Coast, and that's why you sort of went to follow him. Let me see. I'm just going to the rules for contacts here.
Yeah, I think at this time it's probably hard to find out about, you know, foreign countries and what's going on in them from, you know, America.
Absolutely, because I mean everything's going by transatlantic cable at this point. This is pre-radar. I mean, radio exists, but let's see here.
They have telephone, don't they?
Yeah, telephones do, but even transatlantic though. But I'm not sure if there's transatlantic calls at this point. I've actually, you know, I got to pull out. I was meaning to pull out I've got a great source book just on like the pulp era. So it's got a bunch of just like, you know, tidbits about like what life was like in the 30s. And I've been meaning to pull it out and look, and I just have not done that yet. Let's see here. Contacts. So
for now, we just won't do anything that seems too out of, too unlikely, and then we can look it up before we go too far.
Give me a Corp. Would you roll 3d6 for me? We're gonna roll on your contact FBI, and let's see if you're able to get some meaningful contact with them.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
Sure.
So even at this point in history, Kev, if there was some strange going on, local law enforcement might still contact the Bureau, right?
What's that called? Contact, where is that?
Under Contact FBI, it's under Skills, Perks, and Talents.
I gotta scroll down here. Attacks and maneuvers. Oh, it's way down here.
Yeah, so you succeeded.
I just want to find it.
Sure.
So you have to roll under the number.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
Law enforcement world? No.
Let's see here. Oh, that's a knowledge skill. So no, right there.
FBI 11.
Yeah, you got it. So that means you succeeded. So you're able to get in touch with somebody with the Bureau.
Yeah, I probably call them on a phone number.
Yeah.
Like
so.
Ask
you have it at a phone booth, we'll say, or no, let's say it's at the hotel. You're at the hotel and you're like, you know, you went from operator to operator to operator to connect you with the Bureau in. I actually don't know whether they're in Langley, but let's say it's in New York at this point, and you're in touch with somebody. Who is it you're trying to contact there?
My contact there is called Mother.
Mother, okay. And like, what is it you're trying to access? Like, is it?
I'm gonna see if there's any technology they have that could help in tracking down time displaced phenomena.
Oh, so Mother's on the other end, and is it a man or a woman?
It's a branch.
Oh, it's a branch. Mother is the branch. Okay. So I think you're talking to like a, you know, the like note taker at this point. Okay, and Agent Valiant, you want to find something about time displacement and tracking. And wait, what? Is this a prank? Who is it?
This is classified information. You don't have
Brown, is this you? This isn't funny.
Who did you say you thought this was?
Brown.
Just pass along the message, kid.
All right. So the message, you know, you hang up, and it's the same innkeeper or whatever, like the guy who runs the hotel that you met when you guys first checked in, and he's kind of like looking, you know, he's conspicuously trying to like file keys away, but it's clear he's eavesdropping in what's going on, and kind of, you know, holds a really weird like look at you, like, what are you talking about? And
I slip him a $10 bill, and I tell him to not speak of anything that he's heard.
Yeah, wow, that's huge.
Oh yeah, I'm assuming that's like $100 or a couple $100 of money, basically.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you slip him the money, and he quickly finds something to do in the office rather than hang around with you. Let's see here, Dr. Black. Dr. Black, do you have?
Maybe we could check in with the local law enforcement, Agent Valiant, and see if they have seen anything strange.
Let me check something here. I'll pull up my hero builder. I think you actually might have someone useful to contact there too, Jeff. Because where am I here?
Right in New York.
Yeah, because you've got contacts. Like, what your contact is more expensive than what Cork's is, and the reason is because it covers more things. Like, just kind of generally like New York academia.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Where is he? Duplicator. Okay.
You have like an imaginary girlfriend in New York.
I got this friend. See. What is going on here?
No, my family's quite wealthy, Corey. So I probably have some like well-to-do contacts.
Did I send you copies? Did I enter the duplicator into Hero Lab yet? On a Hero Builder or whatever? Did you get one, Jeff? The most recent character sheet that you got for duplicator, does it have like blue kind of like handwritten lettering in it?
Let me just see here, duplicator. Thomas McDonough.
Yes, I do. Here we go, Dr. Black. I called it something different.
Yeah, it's got like blue. Yeah.
Okay, 12 or less is what I was looking for. Is the chance of contacting them. So do you want to try and contact them?
Sure.
Let's see. So give them a call. Let's see if you found someone who may be able to. I'm thinking like at this stage, the FBI is still trying to figure out this whole special. You're kind of like a one-man unit right now, Cork, where you're sort of the weird stuff that's out there is getting, more and more present. So the over time, what's going to end up happening is that this sort of like special operations unit that Agent O'Connor's part of, it's going to build around you.
Yeah.
So duplicator rolled an 11. So yeah, you succeeded. So what is it you're trying to reach?
I think in this case, so like it's saying I have like various contacts in New York.
Yeah, that means you can contact someone in New York in the academic scene who would know, who would have a specialty in whatever area you're looking for here. So like, Corey, you said what was it? Temporal displacement?
Yeah, temporal displacement fields.
Temporal displacement. Okay. So
let's say there's actually a couple of different professors that I would speak to.
Yep.
First, I would like get to the physics department and speak to, I don't know, let's make up a name, whatever, Carl something. I just call him Carl. And talk to him about this time displacement stuff and this ancient, what did Matt call it? An ancient relic or something?
Yeah, an ancient occult relic.
And I mentioned that, and give him all the information and see what he can find out.
Okay, well, I think that stuff is too general, like, because what you can do is you can ask some questions about.
I was assuming he would need time to do some research.
Well, even then, like, I think it's like, it's not like, oh, I just need to go and get, X plus Y is whatever. Like, there's just so many different moving parts. You need to make it a more general question. It's like,
okay, well, is there any record of a time traveling relic? Or a relic that
travels in time.
That travels in
Right,
time.
he's
Okay.
rumored to be able to travel in time. That he knows of, or he's
Sure. Okay.
you know,
Let me make the skill test for this person, and let's see here. Go. Okay.
okay.
Okay. So what you reach after a little, a couple of phone calls and dropping your grandfather's name a couple of times, you come upon, or you're put in touch with a let's see, what would he be? He'll be a French scholar of Greek history, and what he tells you. So you reach him, and his name is Professor. Let's see here. What do we want to have as Professor Arb? So you reach Professor Arb, and he answers the phone and says, "Hello, this is Professor Arb."
Hello, Professor R. It's Dr. Colin Black.
Hello.
I was given your name that you might be able to help us. We're looking for some information on an ancient relic said to have had time displacement powers.
Time displacement powers. Sorry, my French accent suddenly. I'm trying to find it again. French. What is it? Hello, French. This is French. I see you are trying to find. It's gonna fucking shift again. Sorry, guys. I cannot keep into a French accent. Thespian, I am not. What's that?
It's an endurance contest.
You're some Quebecois, don't you know? Tabernacle.
Picture Chrétien in your head.
That's a great reference. Yeah. I'll do Chrétien. Yes, you. Time displacement. Well, of course, you know that the myths do not correspond to your scientific realities. So, what you mean is to find something that can cross the bridge of the ages, yes?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what we're looking for.
Yes. Well, you know, of course, that Kronos is the titan of time. Do you know the story of Kronos?
No, I've never heard it.
It is part of the cycle of gods overthrowing gods, overthrowing gods. The Titans are said in Greek myths. Again, I'm fucking changing my accent. Sorry, guys, but it's really fucking hard to say in French. He said in Zutalor. It said in the myth that the Titans were the creators of the universe, and Kronos was the titan of time, the very personification of the movement of the universe from one thing to another. Kronos was cast down by his son, Zeus, in the same mythological cycle we see in other myths. It is said that one of the eyes of Kronos was lost in that incredible battle and was possessed by others looking to see through to the future. This, we believe, may be the source of the crystal ball myth we see at so many carnival sideshows. Is that the type of thing you are looking for?
Potentially, is Kronos' eye thought to actually exist somewhere?
The Eye of Kronos is referenced in several myths and said to have, as with so many other treasures, been brought to Europe by the Crusaders, along with the other treasures brought back by them. A French family of great nobility said to have possessed the eye, but it was lost during the revolution.
Now,
200.
Professor, do you think if someone was in possession of the Eye of Kronos, would they be able to possibly make some kind of a device or a machine that would allow them to open a portal through time?
Such speculation is beyond my comprehension. I am no engineer. I am no electrician. But
No stories exist of using the eye as the doorway.
It is described as more of a window than a doorway. But
well,
perhaps someone could pass through that window? I do not know. In any event, the artifact is lost to time, but that is the only items that I am aware of. Does that assist in your research?
A little. Yes, thank you very much for your time.
Oh, well, thank you. Please, if you have any further questions, or if, and I said in German, if you have any questions, or if when you know more, I would be interested in hearing how your research progresses. Perhaps you could share any paper you prepare.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, good night. And
good night.
He hangs up. You know, it's really suspicious because his fucking accent kept changing.
Yeah, I suspect he might be a German spy.
Because your DM can't do a fucking French accent to save his life. Jeez. So, yeah, so you get off the phone, and I'm assuming you're going to share that with Agent Valiant.
Yeah, I was actually holding the phone in such a way that Agent Valiant could listen in.
Yeah.
You know, like the old 30s, like receiver sideways where we're both listening, but I'm talking.
Yeah, yeah. And like he's nodding as, you know, as soon as you hear interesting things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I'm going to call back to the same university to speak to the, like, the, you know, world politics or European scholar. There must be some scholar of, want to get a little bit more information about this so-called Nazi party in Germany.
That would be history. That would be politics. Why don't you give me another...
That's what I'm saying. Like, but someone who's into, like, you know, European politics, or there's got to be scholars there that are following the world politics.
Sure. Give me a 3d6 roll. I actually don't. You know what? I'm just thinking right now because this is something I know a bit about. I'm not sure if, like, it's only been called political science in the U.S. since the 50s, and before that it was called politics. And I'm not sure if there was a separate study of politics beforehand. I know there certainly was of like history and literature and stuff like the classics. 14. Okay, so unfortunately you're not able to get a hold of anyone else tonight. You're gonna have to wait a couple of days. Wait a day or so before.
Well, then the person that I need to talk to for any case could be over in Europe, like.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at your skills. See if there's anything else you've got. I don't see anything in your skills that would necessarily.
Well, the other thing I'm suggesting is maybe we should talk to local law enforcement to see if them or any, if they've heard anything about these other gentlemen, to see if maybe they came through the portal too.
Okay.
I think we need to track down these Nazis and find out where they would go.
Right, these old Nazis, like, exactly.
Yeah,
they must have.
Go ahead.
I'd be afraid that they would come back in and change history so that the Nazis win the war or whatever, however it goes.
Right.
And I think that's I'm trying to think if I don't want to make a decision for Brent's character, but there is a plan that they've got to create a incredibly destructive device that involves importing radium from Belgium, and somehow involves some kind of Belgian company called HM. What is it? HM. GK, I think. Hold on. Or it's HMK something other. One second here. I'm just going to pull up the email because I think he would have shared that information with you. He just wouldn't share. Let's see here. That's one session. Here we go. As I was scrolling through, I need to find a better. You know what I need to do is start a what do you call it? Start an actual campaign document for this. And sorry, wrong thing. Okay. Why don't you guys can feel free to talk about plans if you'd like, while I'm trying to find this damn.
Well, what do you think about contacting local law enforcement?
Yeah, I could do that.
Like just to go down to the station, just see if they.
Where would they go if they were? Because I bet they've blown town by now.
Well, they might have had to steal a car or something to make that happen, right? So, stolen transport, a robbery,
okay,
anything like that, right? Like they would have needed money, right? Is my guess, my thoughts.
Yeah, I'll call the local law enforcement and ask.
We could even drive down there if you wanted.
Agent Jack Valiant of the FBI, and I'm tracking 2 suspects that may have fled the area in a stolen vehicle. Do you have any reports of stolen vehicles in the area over the last 24 hours?
Okay, so let's role play through that. Hold up here. Okay, so listen, I'm gonna quickly flip through my notes here and find what I need. So I'll give you the other information that he's given you. So it's an Elderly Japanese gentleman, and then a older, much bigger German guy. French is just the accent I'll end up giving him. It's UMHK, which was Union Mineral de Katanga. And there's a guy's name, which is Edgar Sengier. And that's what he's got. That's the information he has. Let's see here. Okay, so you're going to contact local law enforcement. So let's do that scene. You guys make your way over to. It's probably like maybe dinner time, but there is probably one guy left in the local Bend police station. Yeah, it's probably looking at the page here. It's probably like near the far end of town, maybe across from the church. So you guys make your way down there. You pull up in front, and there's a guy named Bradley who's working inside, and he seems to be sitting down, and he's sort of unwrapping in paper this sandwich that his wife had packed for him. And you guys walk in. He's let's see here. He is in his 30s, and he's played by Patrick Wilson, because I can't get that picture out of my head. So you walk in, and Patrick Wilson's got the, it's Officer Bradley has his the paper open, and he looks up at like butcher paper. He looks up at you guys. He sees the suit, Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. I'm Agent Jack Valiant, Special Investigator for the FBI, and this is my associate.
Oh, he kind of gets up from his chair. He's a little surprised. G-Man.
I'm tracking 2 fugitives that may have left the area in a stolen vehicle. I'm wondering if you have any reports of stolen vehicles in the past 24 to 48 hours.
Stolen vehicles, you say? Fugitives. Wow. Oh, anything to help out Mr. Hoover, I'm happy to do so. Let me take a look here. Look, see. He makes his way over to sort of like the pad of I'm trying to think how they would track this. It's probably like a ledger that they're keeping track of these things in. So he gets over there and he's like, okay, let's see. And you know what? There is. Looks like there was someone up on let's see here, Shoehorn Mountain. He had someone reported a vehicle stolen from there.
Is that close to where the cabin was?
So he's got a big map of the area up on the wall. He says, well, let me show you. And he goes over and he gestures to one part of the map and he says, well, here's where we are right now. And he points at Bend. He says, this is where Shoehorn Mountain is. And he basically points to nearly identical, like very, very close to where the Agent O'Connor had brought you guys.
Cool. Can we get a vehicle description and then we'll be on our way?
Yeah, he gives a description. It's it's an older model sedan. It's like so many other cars, but I don't think that they have a VIN number or anything like that. It just gives you a rough description. And unfortunately, it's like a bunch of other cars in this time. So yeah, so you got a description of it, but there's nothing further in the in the description. They say they saw a guy or they heard people outside, but they didn't see anything. At least that's what's written in the ledger here.
All right.
Does that help with your investigation?
It certainly does.
Yeah, I think it means that they're here and they're on the move, in my opinion.
So we need to figure out where they would go.
Where they would go? Oh, well, I mean, Portland's not too far away. That's the nearest big city. But we could, if do you know which way they'd be headed? Up north or down south? Or back east?
Not sure.
Where'd they come from?
That's kind of classified information.
Oh, I see. G-Men stuff. He seems pretty impressed with the secrecy of this.
You play your cards right, you might be agent one day.
You think?
Not really.
No. Oh, he's deflated. So, anything else you want to ask Agent Constable Bradley here?
No, I think we're done.
Dr. Black slips him a $1. Thanks for your time, sir.
Oh, well, I mean, this is hardly not. Is this?
You get yourself a drink after work today.
He sort of looks at what Agent Valiant's wearing. He looks at what you're wearing. You consultant or an agent?
That's classified information.
He sort of rolls his eyes like, "Oh, I should have known that." Ooh. Sorry, Agent. Of course it is. Well, you just let me know. It's and he points at his name tag again. It's Officer Bradley. You just let me know if you need anything else.
All right, thanks a lot, Officer Bradley.
Agent, Mister, and you guys head out. So, what are you gonna do now? You're probably both a little hungry, so maybe you can have your discussion over what to do next over dinner.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so you guys find a place to like a little restaurant to sit down and have your dinner. And what's the plan then? Still no sign of Agent O'Connor or of natural disaster of Sylvester Leopold. So what are you thinking?
It's tough to even know which direction to go.
Because we don't know where they've gone. We don't have any way of tracking them. And
What
we
do
don't
you
know
have?
if they went east or west or what.
So what do you have then? Like one of the
We have
ways to sort of
a vehicle description.
yeah, vehicle. What other if like one of the things that's not a bad idea for this type of cane. Let me see if there's a notes column in your thing. Not really, not really. Is to or even you put it in the chat thing. And what I'll do is I'll create a document that I'll share with everybody from in Google Drive. So here's what you know so far. You know that two guys from future bad. You know.
Yeah.
HMHK is the company. You know. Same. So what I got on two guys from the future are bad. HMHK. Is that right?
Wow. Price of a beer in 1930 was about 5 cents.
Wow.
You give that guy $1?
Yeah.
You
can take. Maybe I guess I would have told him to take him and his buddies out for a few beers.
That would kill.
What was that, Clark?
That would kill them.
Oh man.
Well, and I looked it up. $10 was like about $140.
Oh wow.
So
that's the information you have so far. You know, there's two guys in the future. You know, there's a company called HMHK. There's a guy named Edgar Senje who somehow fits into this. There's some connection with Belgium Congo. Their Nazis and Imperial Japan are somehow involved with this, and you know the model of the car. You have calls out to the FBI to try and give any further information.
Can you tell me more about HMHK?
So you can't tonight, but let's say that tomorrow you're going to make that call. What you could do is maybe call and get the Bureau to look into what HMHK is.
Okay.
Okay. And so that's a good plan. What else do you want to look into tomorrow?
Let's call. There can't be many. Let's call north, south, and east, like a couple towns in each direction, and see if any of their gas stations had gas stolen.
Okay.
Because they stole a car, but they still may not have cash to fill up. So, like, let's say you steal a car off someone's yard, the next town over or the next couple towns over or whatever, you probably have had to steal gas or something to keep moving.
Okay.
Or I mean, there might have been a robbery or whatever, but like, it's just
sure.
like one thing to check. Like, call the, probably at this time, most small towns or whatever would have like one petro station kind of thing.
So here's where one of the advantages or one of the perks that Special Agent Valiant has probably would come in handy is that he's got FBI, what is it called? FBI law enforcement rank, and your fringe benefit is federal police powers. What that'll allow you to do, Agent Valiant, is to get local law enforcement to do that for you.
Oh, that's a great idea. So we could have commanded that constable to make some calls for us.
Yeah, get him to get
Oh,
some
that's
stuff
cool.
because that's one of the
And
advantages.
tell him to come by the hotel if he found anything, or come by the restaurant where we were going to go sit down and have dinner.
I guess I would have tried to do that if I knew that was possible.
Yeah, like we can go back and say that actually happened. That you you spoke to him. Okay, so he's going to be looking into that for you. Anything else you guys want to look into? You're going to get the bureau. We'll say that you also added. You wanted to get information on HMHK, and if you want to give him the name Edgar Sengier, you can do that as well.
Yeah.
Which one is that?
Edgar Sengier. You're not sure who it is. I don't think in game you guys have learned who that guy is.
Okay, I see. I'm going to be back in 2 seconds. I'm just going to get a drink.
Sure. I will point out that if for the player, if you do want to do a search for Edgar Sengier, you can read all about him on Wikipedia.
Oh, he's a real person?
Oh, yeah. Same with HMHK as well. So you'll get that. Get them looking into that. And okay.
Shit.
Uh-oh. Sneaky tap.
My mouse. Oh, set my whiskey down on my headphones.
It's nothing but a production thing. Okay, so unless there's anything else you guys want to do tonight, let's just cut through till later tomorrow.
Sure.
You guys are sort of like, I think you're probably hanging around in the Bend police station. And I'll say that Agent Valiant, you got in touch with the Bureau about this and told them to, contact you there. So what you do hear back from them is HMHK is a Belgian company. It's HMHK is short, or not short. It's an initialism for Union Minerale de Haute Katanga, which is a mining company that operates out of the Belgian Congo, and it has been for about 30 years or so now. So this time in history, the Congo is still a colony of Belgium. Edgar Sengier, it turns out, they actually don't need to do. He's not a criminal. He's not a political figure. Edgar Sengier is the guy who runs HMHK.
Are they in the States?
Yeah. Do they have an American office?
They do. There is a Manhattan office for HMHK.
Manhattan.
Sengier doesn't work out of there, but yeah. Belgium is actually what you find is HMHK is actually a pretty profitable place. Belgium is known, at least the Katanga is known for copper, zinc, diamonds, and at once upon a time it was known for radium as well. At this point, radium, Madame Curie sort of set off a pretty big speculators run on radium as a cure-all for a bunch of different diseases. Roughly 30 years ago, and that led to a lot of people, speculating about the value of it. But ever since that has been sort of disproven as a good source of medicine, the price of it's tanked. So the mines are mostly not active at this point. So it's weird. So basically, like they're trying to get
use the radium for.
What you know is that radium. Let's hear. Jeff, I think your character, Dr. Black, will know enough about this. You know that radium is a radioactive substance. It's a substance that gives off particles of itself. And radium was thought at one point for those things to be beneficial, but it turns out it's really not. And that exposure to radium unprotected can cause really horrific cancers. It's thought that these exotic elements might be used in other things. Let me see here. What are your specialties? You've got chemistry and biology, right?
Where's that?
Give me an inventor roll.
Oh yeah, biochemistry, biology, and chemistry.
Why don't you give me an inventor roll?
Sure.
Yeah, so you're not sure what, maybe medicine, maybe you know, yeah, you're not sure, but some kind of super pill. But I mean, like that's pursuing a line of, to your mind, you know that like exposure to radium. Well, actually, it's a superhero world too. So in extraordinarily rare circumstances, maybe it could engender a weird response in a living organism or a positive response, but more often than not, the response will be negative.
Okay.
Okay, so you know that from a chemistry perspective, but you can't figure out what else it might be used for.
Right, like I don't have any clue of why they would be after it.
No.
Do you want to
first? Go ahead, Cord.
Oh, I'm talking to Jeff if he wants to go to New York.
I do think that is a very likely place to go. It's actually my main residence. So.
Okay. Maybe we'll head out to New York the next day.
Okay. You're gonna just give up the pursuit of the fugitives?
Yeah.
Well, actually, maybe get them to check. We could stop by the police station and get them to check east more to see if there has been any reports of any other robberies or, like I said, gas being stolen or anything heading east.
Okay.
Okay, let me I'm gonna make a roll here. Actually, you know what? This is more just a luck thing. So
I have combat luck.
oh yeah, that's not the what combat luck is a defensive ability.
No, this is where we need natural disaster.
Oh yeah, totally. You know, one thing you guys could do is because like one of the forms of air travel that is very popular right now, in particular for international air travel, is by Zeppelin.
Zeppelins.
Yep, there's still Zeppelin.
2 tickets to the Zeppelin, please.
I'm just trying to think of where they fly out of. So there are, I'm looking at the travel in the 30s, so it's going to be pretty expensive. But I think you could easily afford that, Dr. Black.
Yeah, and I think what I would actually do is leave some cash in an envelope with Agent Matt Connor's name on it and a note telling him that we have gone to New York City to pursue the leads in relation to HMHK and Edgar Sangier.
Here's $5.
Yeah, well, whatever the cost of a ticket is, plus a bit of traveling money. Probably.
Sure. Yeah, you're certainly well off enough to do that. Okay, so you leave that stuff behind with the hotel clerk, and you get the sense that he's a trustworthy type. So you leave that.
Well, I gave him a nice tip already, so
sure. I think that you'll have to fly to Portland. Portland's probably the biggest place that has an airport at this point. You drive to Portland. We see you guys getting off. You go out to the runway. We see a thing of you guys checking your plane tickets, and there's these beautiful uniformed stewardesses who lead you up to the plane. You board the plane by ladder from outside, and then we see this old like well, I mean like a 30s. Like if you think of like the plane that Indiana Jones crashes in Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
That's sort of the plane you guys are boarding. That would have been around the same era. So we see the engines all start up, and then it roars along the runway, and whoa, it goes up. And we see now a map in sepia, and then we see a red arrow, slowly making its way across the country until the camera pans over and it hits, New York City, and the arrow turns into a little dot. And we dissolve out and we dissolve back in. Of you guys stepping out of a cab into a busy New York street. Give me a sec here. I can actually transition you over to New York. So here we are, guys. You want to get a sense of New York in 1937? Here you go. Almost all these photos are really high-res photos too. So feel free to zoom in on any of these and get a real good sense of what you're looking at here. I got some pictures of downtown. I got pictures of the what do you call it? The docks, and of course there's the big Nazi Zeppelin, and I think our camera pans up and we see that the one of the Nazi Zeppelins soaring above on its way towards the terminal on the top of the the Empire State Building. I don't know if you guys knew that, but
building in the world.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys step out. You're probably the best look is like Times Square in the top left there. You guys step out, and it's still January, right? So you've got your big heavy overcoats on. You pull it up against the cold, light a cigarette. You know, you hear a streetcar go by. You can hear cars honking at each other. Where is it you're headed? Is this at the Black House? See, I was thinking, Jeff, just as an out of character thing, I was thinking about substituting Adam Westmarch for your grandfather, but I don't know, because your father is so antisocial. I feel like you guys wouldn't open your manor to everybody.
No, and I think actually I do stay at the Westmarch Manor.
Okay, cool, yeah. So what?
My grandfather's got his lab, and he's sort of got a space for my dad, but like you said, because my dad is so secretive, there's really not room for me and all my, you know, I'm more gallivanting and socializing and stuff that, you know, just would interfere with their work.
Okay, okay. So this is actually maybe elsewhere. It's not at Times Square. It's at another part of the city where there is this really, it's effectively like a mansion kind of thing, and it's right downtown. And you guys get out, and Agent Valiant, you've seen this before. You're aware of who's in this place. It's a guy, a former kind of globe-trotting adventurer who goes by the name of Adam Westmarch. And you guys, you're maybe like, this is, now that you've spoken to Dr. Black, you're really kind of more than just observing. You're involved in this sort of world now. How does that make you feel? No, Cork, are you there?
Oh, that was for me?
Yeah, sorry. I'm curious as to how Agent Valiant feels now being sort of dragged into this world rather than just observing it.
Yeah, it's a little out of the ordinary, but sounds like fun.
Okay. So you guys, you ring the sort of like, there's the big gate, and there's a really advanced kind of radio thing there with a button on it, and you hit the buzzer, and then there's a voice that comes back that's heavily accented. Yes. And it's you, Agent Dr. Black, who probably knows who this is.
Sorry, who is it?
It's Zabudu.
Oh, Zabudu.
Yep. Mr. Westmarch's, or Doc Westmarch's, one of his companions.
Ah, Zabudu. I'm back from my travels to the West Coast. How are you today?
Well, you're talking to him through this device right now.
Oh. Would you please buzz us in?
Of course, of course. And he rings the buzzer thing, and you walk through the gate. As you walk in, this is the first time you've been into Westmarch Manor, Agent Valiant, but you've observed this a number of times before. And once you actually get past the gates, there are a number of like electronic kind of, like almost like street lamps that are active in here, and you can hear kind of the the buzzing of the live wires. But you're looking around, and stepping out from the street into here, maybe the first thing you notice is that there's a bit of I think there's a glass sort of dome over this, and you're sort of stepping into a greenhouse, and this wave of humidity hits you as you effectively step into like a terrarium, and you're surrounded by all these exotic trees and bushes and shit like that, and birds are chirping in the background.
I want to add something to the scene.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
As soon as they enter, Agent Valiant takes out his classic notebook and just immediately starts writing notes. And Dr. Black reaches over. He doesn't say anything. He just closes the notebook, and he puts it back into Agent Valiant's pocket, and he just said, he like gives him this like not while we're in here kind of look, like
I love that.
you know.
Is that okay with you, Cork?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so you step in, and then you see coming down the hallway, or not the hallway, but the pathway, and it's strange to walk in here as well because it's like this place has been intentionally groomed so that it looks like, you know, a slice of jungle that's been taken out, to complete with a path that's partially overgrown, leading up in and inside. And down the way comes a guy dressed in like a butler's uniform, but he is adorned with he's for one thing, his skin is very, very dark, and he is adorned with jewelry. If you can kind of think of like, picture any one of the extras from like Wakanda, but in a butler's uniform.
Cool.
This is, of course, Zabudu. And Zabudu walks up and says, Dr. Black, you are back. And he comes over.
Yes, Zabudu. And I've brought a friend.
He, you know, his one eye kind of goes small, and he looks at you, studies you, and says, G-Man, yes?
Yeah, you got it.
Yes, this is Special Agent Jack Valiant. It seems that we've picked up quite the case over in on the West Coast, and we'll need to be continuing our investigation here in New York.
Of course.
Get this, Zabudu. Time travel. Unbelievable.
Chrono displacement. That is most interesting. You probably have some stuff you can talk to Zabudu about, because Zabudu is actually a physicist.
Mm-hmm. So we kind of go into what I heard from the French Professor Arg.
Okay. He says,
and see if he has any input into some of my thoughts about, you know, applying great power to this, you know, opening a door through time kind of talk.
Sure, please, we should be more comfortable. You have, did you fly or drive?
We just flew in. We just arrived.
You must be tired from the trip. Please, you and Agent, we will. You are more than welcome here as well. Doctor is away right now, but I expect him back soon. Let's retire to the salon and discuss this. So you guys sort of get a chance to you know, to get inside and you get comfortable.
Do you know if my grandfather's in the city?
Your grandfather, I believe he is.
Okay, thank you, Zabudu. I'm sure he'll want to hear all about this. And I'll pull out the device that I kind of used to find them and say, she worked like a beauty.
Ah, wonderful. Perhaps.
And I hand it to him, and
sure.
He'll put it away somewhere.
Okay, so he says perhaps the laboratory then, and he leads you guys down to this place. So as you make your way through the manor, I'm picturing this manor as kind of like, you know, imagine like a Victorian style manor complete with like trophies on the wall and like souvenirs taken from all over the world and shit like that. But
yeah, like glass cases in the hallway with, you know, strange artifacts in them.
Instead of having just like exotic artifacts stuff, there's like, you know, a rusted robot that says that it's, you know, it refers to it as the Iron Knight, and it dates it at 1137. You know, and there's like a some kind of, you know, what do they call it? Calculation engine from, you know, 7 BC in ancient Timbuktu, and that kind of stuff. Like there's, you know, there's weird, like all sorts of really bizarre artifacts and stuff that are all over the place. And one thing that you do see is there is a dagger that is actually, it's not a dagger. It's actually it's a smallish sword, like a mid-sized sword, and it's identified as the sword of the Iron Father. And yeah, if you remember, that's actually one of the names that Agent gave you. But you pass through all this stuff, and Agent Valiant, you're sort of looking around and are a little, this is not only like taking a dip in this world of the weird, it's fully being immersed in it at this point.
Cool.
So,
and maybe you start to get some idea why Dr. Black is not so shocked by things, like,
yeah,
why his mind is like it is.
Yeah. So you make your way through to the basement to where one of the laboratories are. And the lab is sort of like something out of a 50s sci-fi film where there's lots of like, weird beakers, and there's machines that are beeping, and there's like, live kind of like Tesla coils that are, have electricity going up and down it. And there's a giant, basically a giant series of boxes and whatnot that I think make up the their calculation engine. And Jeff, what do they call their calculation engine?
I think they just call it the machine.
The machine, okay. Okay. So it's still, kind of like chugging away. It's clearly working on some problem that the doctor had left for it, Doc Westmarch. And they go down, and Zabudu takes your device and starts, running some, hooks it up to some kind of device and starts running some tests on it. You guys have an opportunity to sort of chat with him now. What are you guys thinking of doing here? What do you want to ask him?
I think, like I said, just bringing up the conversation, relating to him what I heard from Professor Arg, and bringing up my point again of my idea of powering up this Eye of Kronos and using it to turn a window into a door. And just sort of like the same ideas that I tried to explain to the professor that were so foreign to him may not be so foreign to Zabudu.
So Zabudu thinks about this and says, that's very interesting. And it matches. There are theories. So I'm not doing his accent because I'm beginning to feel a little self-conscious of doing a African accent. So I can't help but think it's going to lend its way far too much into parody and then be pretty racist. So he looks at this at the readouts from your device that you were going along, and it's basically just like a wave of kind of like a green light wave that's going along this sort of like circular or oval readout.
And maybe there's like a wax disc or something inside of it, and I can show him the readings from where were we?
Oregon.
In Oregon.
Yeah.
Like it sort of scratched the pattern that I used to identify the location.
Sure. Into
this wax disc.
So he says that in theory, if this device existed, and if it somehow was able to access another location, presumably it would be whatever particles were passed between those two periods, those two places in history. Presumably you may be able to make it so that more or larger particles could pass through. But unfortunately, Zabudu has, in theory, that's how it could work, but he has no idea how you would even start to construct something like that. Like, it's the science and the number of variables that would be at play is just incalculable. It sounds more like magic than, or superstition than science. Or just...
Is magic real?
There are, Zabudu turns and he says, Special Agent, I have traveled well across this world in my life, and I have seen many things that have escaped my ability to classify as a scientific endeavor. But that could be just another form of science which we do not understand. I have seen such things as well.
Jack, that is one of the many things that we are trying to accomplish here at this manor, is deciphering the magical and trying to quantify it scientifically.
And what is it that you think traveled through this? Why was it? What prompted the interest of this Eye of Kronos?
Well, we know for sure that at least 4 gentlemen have come from the year 2018 back to our time through some kind of device. They have succeeded. 2 purposefully and 2 accidentally.
2 good and 2 bad.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
We know that this technology is possible.
Then you hear sort of a deep kind of baritone voice from somewhere on the far side of the room. It says, "Time travel, eh?" And you turn and you see there's this guy there, and I'm trying to think of who. Like, I can't think of an actor who's really got a broad enough set of shoulders, and like I'm sort of picturing like you know, The Rock, but at like 70, if he kept up with his weight, right, or his things. But The Rock is just he strikes me as a nice guy, and he always strikes me as a bit of a cornball. Like, I don't take him seriously as a
what Terry Crews?
What's that?
What Terry Crews?
Terry Crews. Not to be racist, but I'm not sure that a black man in 1937 could advance to this level of. There may be other challenges that he would experience.
Okay.
You know, just because it's. But yeah, and I love that idea for the casting. Let me think about that. Let me think if. You know what? It's a fucking superhero. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I love that. Okay, so let's say it's Terry Crews, and Terry is there, and he's got a real like serious look. And even though he's 15 years older than what Terry is right now, you know, and he's bald as well too. His eyebrows are grayed. His mustache and beard are gray as well too. But he's still got that like giant fucking corded neck and those massive shoulders. And he's wearing like a safari shirt, like a tan gray thing that's just a little bit too tight on him, you know. And he looks over, and you see this is, of course, Doc Westmarch.
Westmarch.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I say. Dr. Westmarch, great, you could join us.
Yeah.
You haven't formally met, but this is Agent Jack Valiant.
I think he has a pair of aviator goggles on his forehead too.
Did you just fly in?
I did. I was told that I docked at the Autogyro port in the back of the manor. Agent Valiant.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. I know you through reputation, and I'm glad to see that you finally. Well, so it's glad to see you finally in my home. You are, of course, always welcome. And he gives you that Terry Crews smile. And just so time travel, eh? Too good and too bad. You realize that time travelers loose in this time with knowledge of the future is, of course, a great threat. The knowledge of the means by which they traveled could be even greater.
Agreed.
Which of the two groups, the good or the bad, had that technology?
Unfortunately, the bad.
That is disappointing. Tell me what you know so far.
And we'll recount everything that we have.
So he sits down and he's he's as you're talking, he closes his eyes and he's sort of like nodding and thinking. And you can see his
And
eyes.
I actually tell the story, and I start from the beginning of meeting Matt and natural disaster and how strange they were. Our breakfast with the demon, and then natural disaster disappearing when Agent Valiant showed up to the woods where we found the cabin and the newspapers from the future, and then about Matt telling us his tale and then being whisked away by natural disaster right after, and then about the information we found out about the potential information where we were speculating with the stolen car and the men journeying to New York to meet with this Edgar Sengier from HMHK.
HMHK. It's one of the Belgian companies. His eyes have opened. I can provide an introduction, should you require. I have many assets in sub-Saharan Africa.
Excellent. That would be wonderful.
Indeed. And gentlemen, I have other matters to attend to, but the resources of Westmarch Manor are at your disposal. And I'm certain that any of my assistants, and Zabudu sort of nods towards him, will be happy to assist. The others should be back within the next day or so. They were less willing to risk the gyrocopter again. Now, it sounds like there is much. What of the two allies you mentioned, Leopold and O'Connor? Do you have any inkling?
I have left them money for travel from Oregon here to New York City. Told them of our plans and given them your address.
Then the best we can hope is that the message reaches them and that they take you up on your opportunity, on your offer.
Of course, they will. They were talking all about something called geocaching.
Nice. So what happens then is, as he gets up, he says, "Forgive me, so I have matters to attend to," and it appears that you and Zabudu have other matters to discuss. Agent Valiant, lovely to see you. Lovely to meet you. I look forward to working with you.
Same here.
And he nods, and he turns and starts walking away. And as he's walking away, you notice that he's actually walking. He's trying to hide it pretty well, but he does walk with a pretty pronounced limp. And he leaves, and then we turn back to you guys. And this is not really much of a cliffhanger, but
actually, I have a scene to end the
sure.
episode.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff. Yeah, what do you got?
So after that, and Zabudu leaves, Dr. Black turns to Agent Valiant and he says, "Jack, if we're going to be working together and we're going to fully trust each other, there's something I feel I have to show you."
Okay. Very cool. So
he reaches out and he reaches out to shake your hand.
Oh, cool.
What is it? I'll shake his hand.
Do you reach out and shake his hand?
Yeah.
When you do, you look down at his hand and his skin almost seems like it ripples. And as it does, you look up and his face for a second looks almost like a blank mannequin or something. And then you're staring directly at yourself almost as if you're looking in a mirror.
Wow.
So then the camera cuts outside, and we see the big stone edifice of Westmarch Manor. There's the glass outside where the greenhouse is, and then we see on the street there's cars passing back and forth. There's a street trolley that goes by, and we see that there is a big old sedan, with dark windows, that is sitting there, and the windows are, despite the cold, one of the windows is rolled down a bit. We see a little bit of someone, someone's breath is coming out from inside, and we hear in the darkened interior of this vehicle, someone says something in a language that is subtitled, and you would guess that it's Arabic or some kind of Middle Eastern language. And what the subtitles say is this the place? And another voice answers in Arabic or Egyptian or some other language that we don't understand. Yes, this is where you must. This is where the attack must happen. You must retrieve it, but he is not here yet. And then you see this man lean forward. He's got a lean. Oh, you know who he's played by? He's played by Alexander Siddig, the guy who played Bashir in DS9.
Cool.
He's played a bunch of other roles. Like he plays Ra's al Ghul in Gotham. But he leans forward, and he's got a bit this like Egyptian headdress on as well. And he says, "We must wait for him, and then we will take it." And the music sort of goes up, and that's where we'll end this week's session. Let me hop out of the game here. Exit game. Turn my camera back on. Stop sharing. Boom. Boom. Okay. So, for those listening at home, thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Champions Westmarch Manor. We did a lot of talking, a lot of investigating tonight, so that was interesting. We'll be back again next week. In the interim, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns about the session, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section below, or you can reach me on Twitter at Dungeon Musings. So that's Dungeon Musings, all one word and plural for the Musings. Thanks to Jeff and Cork for making it tonight. This was a lot of fun. I'm enjoying seeing the what do you call it? The characters and the campaign expand, and I look forward to seeing what investigations you undertake next time. So for those listening at home, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.